Sai Ram. Just to recollect where we were last week, uh, Arjuna has surrendered himself to Krishna, saying that Krishna, now you have to help me, just the way you are right, driving the chariot. I want you to take over me also and drive me. Because once he realizes that he's confused and he needs help, he has submitted himself to Krishna, and then Krishna, who has clear vision, as Swami says, Brahma Drishti, who sees things as they are, instead of Arjuna, who is suffering from Brahma or delusion. And I think we discussed also about love, worldly love versus devotion, which is the real love. Because worldly love can tend to be anurakti, which is more or less attachment, affection. But Swami wants us to cultivate love, which is devoid of that delusion, which is Brahma. So those were some of the concepts which we discussed. So I think we'll continue from where we are. I think Krishna is going to start teaching now. So he will continue. Saira.
Saira. It is more useful for the student to search for his own faults with a view to remove them than to seek excellences so that he might exult over them. A student who does this can progress fast. He is not dragged behind by fear or anxiety. He can move on with faith in the Lord, on whom he has placed all his burdens. He reaches a state of mental calm, which is the sign of true aspirant. Arjuna arrived at that stage, and then Krishna gave him, and through him to all mankind, the teaching that confers immortality. For whom was the Gita spoken? Just think of that for one moment. Milk is not taken from the udder for the sake of the cow, for cows do not drink their own milk. Arjuna, the calf, has had his fill. Krishna is ever content, and he needs nothing, not to mention milk. For those sake, for those for whose sake was it that the Upanishads were milked by Krishna to get this Gita? Krishna says it is for the Suddhi Jnana, the persons who have Suddhi, intelligence that is moderated by goodness, intelligence that is controlled by virtue.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami actually, I think, clearly tells us how a student should be. The first paragraph, which I think is a direction for all of us. And then I think the second paragraph, he says that this is for all those who have cultivated that Suddhi, that intelligence moderated by goodness is the way that it's translated. I don't know whether Auntie, you have something to say from the Telugu version, Auntie? I hope Mani Auntie is.
Saira.
Sorry.
Saira. It is Suddhi Jana, not Suddhi Gnana. It is
Suddhi Jana.
Jana.
Yeah.
So, okay. It is Suddhi Jana means one who is wise persons who have D is intelligence, moderated by goodness. That's what for Suddhi Jana. That's what I said. Everything is clear, I think. It is not meant for only for Arjuna. The calf Arjuna has had is full. He had all the knowledge, but Krishna focuses on Arjuna and tells the whole Bhagavad Gita for all of us. For all of us, especially with some intelligence moderated by goodness, we can follow this Bhagavad Gita and we can become virtuous. Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
No, I just have a question. So D is jnana, right? So Su is stands for goodness.
No,
Is that how
no.
you?
So the is intelligence. Dhiyo
Intelligence.
yona prachodhyat. We pray for that our intelligence or our buddhi to be enlightened. That's the Gayatri. So the word the jana means people. Jana, janangal in Tamil we will say, you see. So it is jana means person or people, you can say.
So the
Intelligent,
Su in the front. Sorry.
So,
intelligent with goodness.
Oh,
so is the goodness or divine or whatever you want to call it. Here it says goodness. So Swami always says intelligence can be used for wrong things also, for selfish individual discrimination. Swami says absolute discrimination versus any. So I think if everyone's taking time.
Saira,
Saira
Saira,
Manti.
Saira. In addition to this, the Swami says that the cow secretes milk for the sake of the cow, but as we see, others also benefit from the cow, from this milk, from that milk. So too, the Gita is useful for the good charactered people. Other benefits such as fostering of dharma and suppression of evil and the overwhelming of the wicked. Also, we get from this Gita. Thank you, Saira.
Saira Manti.
Sairam, maybe I have a little question in here. It says the maybe second paragraph all the way the last line. Krishna says it's for the people, maybe according to the translation just now we have discussed. Krishna says it is for the people who have intelligence that is moderated by goodness. Intelligence that is controlled by virtue. So if the people, they don't have intelligence, say for an example, I may be a good person, but I may not be having that sort of intelligence. So if I am not an intelligent person, then Gita is not really meant for me. Maybe just a little clarification on that part. Maybe it could be maybe at most maybe intention of the wording, it could be something different. But when I just read this one, I have had a question. If I am not an intelligent person, then maybe Gita, it's not really meant for me.
I think we lost. Hello.
Hello. That's the part I need a little clarification on that one.
A very good question, Sister Anti. Very good question. Anyone would like to comment on Sister Ananti's question? Is it not meant for us if we don't have intelligence?
Yeah.
Ira, I always thought there was a difference between buddhi or intellect and intelligence. I think we had learned before that the buddhi is more just like a mirror that can reflect the light of the Atma. So maybe we don't necessarily have to be intelligent from a worldly point of view, as long as we focus on keeping the mirror clean, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Kalyan. Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment on this?
The question is, if we don't have intelligence, so Gita is not for us?
Yeah, that's the question Sister Ananti is asking. So So my okay, if no one is saying, maybe I will say something, and then others can join. See, so Swami has already said this is actually the knowledge from Upanishad is milked. So Upanishads are very difficult to understand, and so then the Jews also will be very difficult actually. If everyone can understand easily, then the whole world will be actually jnanis. There are so many people who have read the Gita also. Swami says there are people who can recite the entire Gita upside, front to back, back to front, and so on. So I think the Swami, there's a reason why Swami, I think, is mentioning Sudhi. If you go look at the process for Vedic studies, the first thing a student is given is the Gayatri. The reason why Gayatri is given is until the Gayatri is practiced, your dhi, your dhi is not necessarily at its best. It's not its best capacity. Even though God has given all of us dhi, it is not fully utilized. And for it to be utilized, it needs to be energized, or it should be nourished and grown. So that is why the Gayatri, the Sandhya Vandanam, all that are prescribed for a student of the Vedas. There are many stipulations placed for these students, how they should live their life, what they should see, what they should not see, what they should hear, what they should not hear. Everything is mentioned, because without that preparation, one may not be able to benefit from the Gita, is what Swami is saying. I think so. I think that's a particular reason Swami has mentioned it, and I think it's a good question that Sister Ananthi asked. So if we think, just we can do anything and then we just pick this up and read and understand, we may not fully benefit. That's my understanding, Sister Anand. So the thing is, Swami, by this sentence, Swami is also telling that we should work on cultivating two things. One is we need to cultivate goodness, and then we should also cultivate improve our dhi or buddhi. We may have the raw material, but we should enhance it, and I think that for that sadhana with prayers and Gayatri is supposed to help. This is what Swami has said in various discourses. So that's why it's not casual study; it's pretty serious study, and there's a preparations which we may have to make to fully benefit from it. That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you, Sairam, brother. So the Swami is telling that you brought in, Swami has already they mentioned in the previous chapter too, just to reiterate the point that it's not an easy study or not serious study. This is a really serious study to get the use or benefit from it. That sort of thing Swami wanted to tell us. Now I got the I really got the understanding from that the statement now.
And there's another place in. Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, I will just finish what I started saying then, Auntie. Because finish. In the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't discuss this topic, whatever I have taught you with anyone and sundry, because you yourself will not benefit from it. It should only be discussed with people who have devotion, who have faith, and who have good qualities. Otherwise, don't discuss it, because it will not be good for either you or them. This is also mentioned by Krishna, so I thought I would just mention. Okay. Sairam, Auntie, please go ahead.
Sairam, I just want to add, as earlier you said, this is the essence of the Upanishads, which is here milked by Krishna and is given to Arjuna. So that means they are secret knowledge, Guhyatama Vidya. That's called Guhyatama. It's a secret knowledge which was given to people only who can understand. Because in the future chapters, Krishna is going to talk about Atma, Paramatma, Jivatma, and what are the qualities of Jivatma, how he has to overcome. So many detailed instructions he is going to give in future chapters. So unless we are ready to receive those that knowledge, it's of no use to a person who has no idea about what Jivatma is, what Paramatma is, or what is life here. So it is very necessary to have a foundational knowledge to understand Gita. That's why he is saying Sudhi Jana, the one who has some background, some kind of intelligence, who can catch what the words are going to be given by Lord Krishna will be useful for him to understand. Saira.
That's why even in my earlier days, I really wanted to study the Bhagavad Gita, but someone told me until the time it comes, even though we can try several times and several ways, but we wouldn't be having that opportunity to study until the time it has given us by God or something. Now I really understand, because we have to have those kind of the attributes or characters in our within ourselves, goodness and intelligence, to capture those things into our vessel. Now I understand really what even the ancient people or the very old people, they always say, without having God blessing, we wouldn't be able to even read the Bhagavad Gita. Now I got the meaning today, why they have said like that. Yeah.
Krishna is speaking very high philosophical language. Unless we have that understanding of the philosophical terms, we will not be understanding Bhagavad Gita at all. That is why Swami is giving this Sudhi Jana. Thank you, Saira.
Anyone else would like to share anything, please?
Saira. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Auntie.
Go ahead, Kalyani.
I know. I just kind of had a silly question almost, because Swami mentions this metaphor even in the first chapter about the calf and the milk. But if Arjuna is the calf and the Upanishads are the cow, can't Arjuna just directly drink the milk? But then he needed Krishna. So, or am I just reading too much into this metaphor?
Yeah, I think, Kalyani, I think he needed to drink the milk and he has drunk. So, but whatever was left over has been milked and put in Gita, so that we are reading it. See, this Gita was written after the fact. After Arjuna drank it, Vyasa wrote it down. Okay, so it's just like when you see, I hear when in the dairy farms, I don't know what they do. In India or Sri Lanka, when cows give milk, they will first let the calf go and drink.
Yeah.
The calf will drink.
Yeah.
And when the calf is supposed to have drunk its full, then they will pull the calf away and then they will milk the cow. So Arjuna went and drank. Now it is being milked. Krishna is milking it further, so for our benefit.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be the one who milked the Upanishads.
Yeah. Okay. Sarvopanishado gavo dugdha gopala nandana. That is the shloka in Gita Dhyanam. Sarvopanishado gavo dugdha gopala nandana partho sudhir. What is it? I just remember the second line. Partha is the calf. Sudhir bhokta. That is why the second line I forgot. Sorry. That's very clear. Upanishad is the essence of Upanishad is cow. Sarvopanishadod gao. Dugdha Gopal Nandana. Krishna is milking it. And Partha Sudhir Bhokta. He is the one who is drinking it. So it's very clear in that shloka. I'll let you know later on. Whoever wants to say something about that, you can go ahead.
So, Brother Dasan, you want to?
Yes. Yes. So, Sairam brother, and other points I can add it to that one. The reason was taught to Geetha to Arjuna. He was capable to understand. He had the knowledge. He surrendered everything. Then, compared to all five, the Pandavas, he is the only person Lord Krishna selected him. Because once we taught to one person, it can be it can be uh, given that knowledge to other people even 5,000 years later through Krishna instead of even study circle. Only few people, some people might think, oh, we need 1,000 people. What is the purpose? This is the purpose. Even if we learn few people, the knowledge can be given to other people in future time. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Auntie, this is.
Can I complete that shlokam?
Partho Sutta. Okay, please.
Let me get. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopalanandanaha partho vatsaha sudhir bhokta dugdam geetamrutam mahat. That is the shloka. Sorry, a second line I forgot. So
Partha is Vatsa. He's the child. He's the calf.
Is the calf. Sudhir bhokta, the one who drinks the milk. And dugdam is that
the people who benefit is Sudhis. Yes.
Sudhi.
Sudhi are the people who are, calf is one. Sudhi, both of them are drinking.
Yeah.
Partha, who is the calf, as well as the Sudhi are drinking.
Men of pure intellect. Yes. And Geetamritam, that is the milk. Mahat, it's a great essence of all the Upanishads.
Dugdam means, I think, milk.
Milk. Dugdam is milk.
Dugdam, Geetamritam, Mahat. Mahat, great.
Great.
Yes, I think Sister Aruna also had some question.
Brother Sairam, I'm trying to understand the sentence. It says intelligence that is moderated by goodness. What is that? Because why is it moderated by goodness?
See, actually, Swami, as I think Auntie Telugulo, moderated is not. I don't think the translation when you say moderated, I think that's the challenge. I will ask Auntie.
Can I just read it out that
yes,
line?
Auntie. Yes, please.
Ee Geetamritamu గుణవంతులైన జనులకుని స్పష్టముగా తెలియచున్నది. ఇట్టి మహాపరిశ్రమ జరిగిన స్థానమును యోచింతుము, అది మరింత విచిత్రమైన చిత్రము. దట్స్ ఆల్ హి సేస్. ఈ ఉపనిషత్ సారమైన క్షీరామృతము, గీతామృతము ఎవరి కొరకు? ఫర్ హూ సేక్? ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫర్ సుధీ జనులకని. సుధీ జనులకని కృష్ణుడే తెలిపెను. Krishna has himself said that.
So Gunavanta is the word Sister Swami has used, which is someone who has good qualities. So the Gita is for people who have good qualities. If anyone in this world has good qualities, that means they have good intelligence. Because when we say intelligent, we generally think, we can trick somebody, we can make profit, we can maximize, our benefit. That is not intelligence. The word "the" is not necessarily that. The one who is selfish will always use it for their own purpose. So Swami uses another word, uses something called individual discrimination versus absolute discrimination. Okay, individual discrimination means whenever we look at any situation, we will see how can we benefit from this. For example, you want to buy something, or you want to go to work, you will find, okay, how can I increase my income? How can I increase my profit? We will use intelligence for that. If we are competing with somebody, how can we make the other person lose? All this, here also we use our discrimination or intelligence. But Swami says absolute discrimination means what is good for everyone. Okay, for that also we need intelligence. And Swami says that is called absolute discrimination, and that is Sudhi. That means you use your intelligence for the betterment of everyone around. And how that happens? When we cultivate good qualities. So one who has already good qualities will naturally have that kind of a discrimination. And so I hope
Yes, yes, brother. That is not, you don't apply that is in a moderated way. You have to do it in full heart, right? That's the one I was thinking.
I
Why
understand.
moderate here? You know, okay, thank you, Sarah.
Virtuous people, Gunavantulo is virtuous people who use their intelligence just for the others, not for selfish purpose. Is there is a chance of anyone, intelligent person becoming very proud? That's also quite possible. The possibility is always there for an intelligent person to become thinking himself of too much, but not that kind of intelligence. It is intelligence with goodness, virtuous. Virtuous people can only understand this Bhagavad Gita. Sairam.
Goodness, you shouldn't apply with the moderator. That's the part I think here. Okay, thank you, Sarah.
I think the word "the" is given so that we can understand the subject. Our understanding should be much better so that we can grasp what is being said. So for that also we need to work on something, and that's what Swami is telling. I hope.
Thank you, brother.
I think intelligence should not be considered smart. Who is.
So sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
Brother.
So
No,
even the person is they can hold some PhD or any kind of qualifications, but they have to have virtue or the goodness, the good characters, and they have to do the good sadhana. Not only that, once they receive that grace and the blessing from the God, only you can understand the Gita. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I think another point which Swami is stressing in the first paragraph is that he says a student should not be dragged behind by fear or anxiety. So he's also telling that we have to place all the burdens with the Lord, even for it. So these are all qualifications Swami is giving us so that we will understand what he's teaching. So he doesn't want us to be worried about anything. All problems you just hand over to the Lord. Then you cultivate goodness, cultivate thee, and then you are ready to drink the milk. I think Swami has given us 3 qualifications of surrender, goodness, and building up the understanding.
Brother, in Sairam, just adding one thing, in order to place the burden on the God, you have to have faith, full faith. Then only you can surrender. Thank you, Sairam.
So if everyone is okay, we'll proceed. So we can get Sairam sisters. There's no one else.
What of the place where the teaching was given? Between 2 opposing armies, therein lies the great significance of the Gita. On one side, the forces of Dharma, on the other, the forces of Adharma. On one side, the good, on the other, the bad. Between these 2 poles, the individual unable to decide which course to adapt, weeps in despair. The Lord speaks the Gita to all such and grants them light and courage. Do not think that the distress of Arjuna was just his affair, his problem, and no more. It is a universal human problem. For Arjuna sought from Krishna not prayas, the pleasing, worldly glory of power and status and wealth, but Shreyas, the lasting glory of full joy. He said prayas is available for human effort. It can be won by human activity or karma. Why would I crave from you what I can win by my own endeavor? I am not so foolish as all that. Grant me the Shreyas, that is beyond the reach of my effort. Shreyas is not the fruit of karma, it is the fruit of grace. Thus, Arjuna rose to the height of Saranagati, absolute self-surrender, the state called Prapatti. Prapatti.
Prapatthi.
Prapatti.
So, thank you, sister. Swami is clearly telling that all of us are facing the same problems. So, and he's again stressing on what we should ask God for. We should not ask God for worldly things, which actually it's within our ability to obtain. But we should only ask for the grace, which can grant us Shreyas, or the lasting glory of full of joy. Purna Anandam, I think. I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please.
Sairam, can you just define that word prapatti? Is it the same as Sharanagati?
So, see, I think Prapatti is the ultimate surrender. See, I mean, we all say we are surrendering to Swami, but Prapatti is the highest level of Sharanagati from attenders. You really don't look for anything. You just submitted yourself completely, accept anything which is given, no questions asked, with joy. Whatever is given is accepted as prasadam. And that's my understanding. And Auntie, you would like to share anything, Auntie?
Yeah. But yeah, Vaishnavas have got this. They use the word prapatti before.
There are discourses by Swami just on Prapatti. So you can share. I will share.
You can share it. You can share it, Arun. If
I will share it. Whoever is interested, I will mail it or something. I can provide the link, and in the YouTube video, we can provide a link. So Kalyani, for the when we post it, in the comment section, or not the comment section, the description, I will send you the link. You can put that link so anyone wants can read it.
In Vaishnava Sampradaya, before a person dies, he has to completely surrender himself to Lord Vishnu. Prapatti is used there, and then Bharasamarpana, that's another word which they use. Bharasamarpana and Prapatti. Otherwise, they won't go to Swarga. That's what is believed. It's a total surrender. In fact, there is nothing as self. Self doesn't exist there at all. So it is all Lord Krishna, and he himself, he is the only one who can give us that kind of knowledge when we surrender ourselves completely to him. It's the fruit of grace, not the fruit of karmas, he says. Only by God's grace we can surrender ourselves to the Lord. Sairam.
I think the next paragraphs, I think Swami is talking about it to some extent, but we will.
Sairam, Auntie just explained about the Shreyas is not the fruit of karma, it is the fruit of grace. If that is the case, previously we also studied whatever I thought fruit of action, that is the one here they call karma too, fruit of action and the fruit of grace, I thought kind of interrelated. It may not be fully dependent, but some sort of interrelated, or whatever the things we do, and maybe if I explain little further, maybe if I have done something that is a good action, maybe because of that good action, I will be blessed by God, though that would be the fruit of grace. So I thought my action and the Swami's blessing or God blessing are interrelated. But here it says whatever the glory is not the fruit of action, it is the fruit of grace. Maybe in this particular context or all the time, it would be maybe not interrelated. It's certainly independent two things. Maybe my action and the God's grace is never ever interrelated.
Good question, sister. Anyone would like to comment on sister's question?
Brother, without any action, how can earn grace? That is a sort of Anandi's question. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that is my the ultimate question too. Without doing anything, maybe we all believe that if we have done something good, selflessly to the entire the universe, we will be always blessed by God. Regardless of other things, we will be blessed. So I thought it's always interrelated. That's why we always tend to do service and those things, to win the God's grace.
So, Sairam brother, my understanding is you have to do the action, you have to do the karma, then only you can gain the grace. But don't do it with body consciousness. You are not the doer. So if you are not interested in the fruit of the action, you are an instrument. Then if you do like that, all the good or bad, it goes to the God. Then you are not taking anything. In that case, you can reach to the God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to comment?
Sairam, according to our karma,
Sairam auntie.
according to our karma, demerits or merits are going to be given to us in the future life. If we have done good karma, we have earned punyam and we will get merit. If we have done some bad karma, papam will come and definitely demerits will follow us. So that is the part. I think it is different from the fruit from grace. Grace comes only, it is beyond anybody's reach. That's what the previous sentence is. Grant me the shreyas that is beyond the reach of my effort. My effort here is not going to work out. Shreyas comes only when we do the complete sharanagati to him, and when we do that absolute self-surrender, the prapatti, then if we are very lucky, then the grace comes. I think I have understood this way. If I'm not correct, please correct me.
Sairam auntie. See, there's a saying by Swami on this topic. Swami says, Bhagavantude యొక్క అనుగ్రహానికి పునాది మానవ ప్రయత్నం. Like that, Swami says. For God's grace, the foundation or the stepping stone or whatever. Punadi means, auntie, step, is it?
Yeah, so Punadi means foundation, foundation step.
Foundation, yes.
Mm.
So foundation is Manava Pratnam, that's human effort. So I think that's where Sister Anand is asking if human effort is karma, how is it different? I think Brother Dasan has nicely said. See, in this world, whether it's in this world or from God, for us to get anything, we have to do something. See, it depends what we want to use that capital, whatever we have, whatever we have earned. What do we want to use it for? Do you want to use it for buying something from the world, or to buy something from God? I think, but the transaction with God is, as Brother Dasan has nicely explained, if we offer the fruits of action to God, then He will give grace. Because if we say the fruits of actions are for ourselves, then we have to experience the karma phala. So for both, human effort is needed, but what are we using it for is what matters. If we are intent, that's why Arjuna is a classic example. Here he says, Krishna, I don't want anything. I don't even want the victory from this war. I just want your grace. That's what Arjuna asked, and then that's what Krishna gave. And I think, so again, that also I think Swami wants us to ask him what we should ask. And if we think, Swami, I want something from the world, that means our karma phala only we will experience. Because after all, the karma phala is also given by him only. So that's my understanding.
Can I read that
Sure.
from Telugu? Hello,
Telugu,
Sairam.
auntie? Yes, auntie.
Yes. Swami is speaking about Sharanagati. Sharanagatiని గురించి పూనుకున్నా, if I start telling you, ఎంతైనాను కలదు, it's not enough. మానవుడు లోకమున అనేక విధములైన అభిమాన, మమకార, అహంకార, దంబాలకై, ధన కనక వస్తు వాహనములకై శరణు జుచ్చుతున్నాడు. See, Sharanagati can be done to God to grant our desires, what we have, ahankara, damba, abhimana, mamakara, all these things, he will surrender to God only for the sake of getting some benefit. కానీ భగవంతుని శరణు చొచ్చే ప్రాప్తి వానికి సులభముగా లభించట్లేదు. Then it's not a శరణాగతి. How does it get? ఎట్లా లభించును? వస్తు ఆనందమునే ఆధారముగా తీసుకుందురు. The basis for all these things, ananda. He wants ananda. లేని అధేయము ఎంత కాలము, అసలు ఆధారము లేని అధేయము ఒకటన్నది ఉన్నదా? Swami is asking, why should I crave from you what I can win by my own desire? No, that's not it. It is something different. I think I'm reading the next paragraph. Sorry, I think I'm reading the next paragraph.
Yes. Yeah.
Abhimana ahankara, is it given there? No,
not yet, auntie.
Not yet.
So it's it's Prapatthi ani anduru. That's all it is. That's where we have read.
Yeah.
The paragraph.
By my own effort, I cannot get the grace. That's what he sees. నా ప్రయత్నములతో కాని శ్రేయస్సును అనుగ్రహించు. నా ప్రయత్నములతో కాని, అది కర్మఫలం కాదు కదా. స్వామి is telling here, కర్మఫలం కాదు కదా, అది కేవలము నీవు అనుగ్రహించిన తప్ప వేరు రీతిగా చిక్కదు.
అది కేవలము నీవు అనుగ్రహించిన తప్ప వేరు రీతిగా చిక్కదు. Means without, unless you grant it,
that is what I said.
It cannot be obtained. Yes.
Can we connect this karmapala to grace? I don't think so. That's what Swami is saying.
So that's what Swami is saying. See, prayatnam, human effort will always give fruits.
Yeah.
fruits of the worldly sense. But we have, that is karma phalam, that is prayers. And Arjuna says, I don't want that. I will make effort so that you grant, I want you. I want you. So as Brother Dasan said, that's only possible when we do our actions and offer it to God. We offer everything which we do to God. Even the fruits of action also we offer to God, then God will grant us this. I think in the next paragraph, Swami is explaining to some extent, I think.
Uncle, I think that really clarifies it because he's saying, oh,
Pardon?
yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I was just saying, I think that was really, that clarified things a lot because he's saying, it's grant me the Shreyas that is beyond the reach of my effort. So as long as we're doing any effort, considering it as my effort, we haven't like gotten rid of that attachment to the body.
Yeah, and that's what Swami is calling Prapatthi, you know. That state is called Prapatthi also, Swami, I think.
Prayers is available for human effort. I can get prayers by my own effort. But to get the grace, what should I do? That's the question.
That's why even Archana said to Didi, right now when after all these discussion, when I read that, I have a different understanding. He said, I'm not so foolish as all that. Grant me maybe the lasting glory of joy that is beyond the reach of my effort. Because karma, it is good karma or bad karma, that is that will be dependent on my actions. But the grace, it's beyond my control. Unless otherwise you grant me, I wouldn't be able to get it. So please give me that grace. That sort of pleading, Archana make it to Krishna here.
Yes, Sister Nandi.
Yeah.
So I think as Auntie says, the prayers is with human effort, without grace, we can also achieve.
Get it.
Without much grace. But the grace is needed definitely for, without grace, we cannot achieve the Shreyas.
Yes. According to the karma theory, the fruits of our actions bring either merits or demerits, punya or papa. I don't think God interferes in that. Only for grace we had to go to Him.
But that is also, it's dependent on the God side, if
he dispenses that also.
Yeah. And maybe right now I understand that whatever we do, good or bad, anything, the ultimate maybe thing, it's beyond our control. It nicely explains that even though the merits or demerits, that would be maybe, I also previously thought Auntie explained that this maybe the karma, it will be passed on to the next birth, but it may or may not be effective on this birth. Maybe whatever we have done it, only it will be carried to the next birth. That's why even another thing we learned, that God always witness it. God wouldn't interfere anything on us. He would be just witnessing. And I just thought about God has, whether God can give us the grace, it depends on Him, not depend on us. Then the second question, it comes to so in order to win the grace, what we should be doing, then in order to win the grace, basically, as a layman, we all understand that we have to do some good things. That's our the basic understanding. Not really in-depth knowledge of spirituality. Basic understanding. We have to do the good things in order to win the grace of God. But still God has, whatever you do, that doesn't matter. If I really want to give you the grace, I will give you. It's like a normal day-to-day, it's a colloquial language. I am saying that. God says that it doesn't matter what you are doing. If I really want to give you something, I will give it to you. Or if I don't want, I will not be giving it to you. So is that fair?
Once, my friend Sucharita, before taking up the job of that regional coordinator for education, she went to Swami, and she asked Swami, I'm going to take up this new job. I don't know where or how I can do it. Without your grace, I cannot do, Swami. Please give me that grace. You know what Swami said? Swami said, grace is always present in everywhere, for everybody. But only thing is, the recipient should be ready to take that grace, to grab that grace. That's what Swami said, it seems. She was mentioning it to us. Sairam.
Auntie, can you elaborate, like it's present there, but you are...
Yeah, the proper recipient.
Take it. What does it mean?
Patram, the recipient should be ready to take that grace. We should do such good things, where Swami's grace will just flow into us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I still remember that Professor Sunanda nicely explained this one. If you keep the vessel upside down, even the goat, pour the water on you or you wouldn't be able to get it. Put the proper way, the cup, you will get it.
It goes back to the previous discussion we had, Sudhi, that you have to have those virtues. Goodness. Virtues and goodness that you are able to receive, you can receive it. You are there, you have it, but you don't know how to receive it. Only the goodness, the virtues, the Sudhi will allow you to receive that, right?
Exactly. Because she came and told us, I asked for grace. Swami said, grace is always available. It's always available. Only thing is recipient. The person who receives it must be ready to take it. Of course, as you said, virtuous people with good effort on our part, grace will come.
Sairam, this is Akku Auntie. I want to know, is it you have to completely surrender to God to get that kind of grace? Actually, all whatever, body, mind, soul, and wealth and everything, you have to surrender to God. That's what I understood from this passage. Thank you, Sairam.
So, Brother Dasan, you have put up your hand.
I like to add one more thing, brother. If you are interested of the fruit of the action, then you have to take the credit, or sometimes it may come successful, it may come failure. When it's successful, you'll be happy. Failure, then your spiritual path will go down because you are not depending on the God. If you leave it to the God, failure or success not yours. Then other thing, if the merits, it's like a RRSP. Even for the next birth, you will continue. Whenever you want it, when you deserve for it, any problems comes, you can withdraw the money from there. Same thing, if you have good merits, if you're going through any difficulties, if you pray to the God, you have the money in the merits, he will help you. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. On this topic of good and good actions and karma, Swami, on the topic of seva, Swami has spoken quite a bit. Swami has spoken because what Swami says is we understand seva means going and doing some good activities. Swami says you go and feed the poor, you go and do some social service, clean the place around, or go and help someone who is sick, all that. Swami says in this world there are so many people who are doing that. There are so many organizations which are doing that. He said, I did not establish Sathya Sai organization to do the same thing. I have established Sathya Sai organization so that you learn to do all activities as offering to God, as a prayer. Then it becomes sadhana. So the good activities will give good results, merit, as Brother Dasan said. It increases our bank balance, and some of it maybe we may be able to use now. Some of it maybe it will come along with us. Most of it will come later on. But there are some actions for which we get the results now and right now. But the thing is, Swami says you do everything as prayer, as if you are serving God. If you're going and feeding someone, you are feeding God. That's why Swami call it Narayana Seva. If you're going and helping somebody, you think you are serving. If someone is sick, you think I'm serving God. If you're cleaning something, you need to think that I'm cleaning the premises of God. So only that can bring us divine grace, because our attitude is what determines what we get. If you do a good activity thinking others will think we are good people, then that a good name we will get. Or some good merit. If I do something good, Swami, God will do something good for me. I will have food, I will have health, my children will be good. All that type of thinking is all worldly related, and we will get the results because that is also dispensed by God. But then that is not grace. Grace is something which he has inside. He has to go inside and get it for you. But as Santi said, God's grace is available. Even though God has to go inside and get it, is available in the open eye. But the thing is, we don't realize, we don't even see it, we don't ask for it. And I think that's what Swami says. If you ask for it, you will have it. But normally we do not ask. So that's the story of Shiva. Apparently one devotee came and Shiva gave everything. He said, whatever you want, you can have. So Parvati told Shiva, what you are giving this person everything, and that person will, he will misuse everything. Isn't it not a good idea to give everything to some person? He says, no, I have not given two things. I have not given that fellow peace of mind, and I have not given him and joy which will always lasting. For those two, he has to come back to me. Okay, which is what is grace is. So God sort of reserves a few things which are not out in the open. For that, you have to go to him. And I think that's what I understand. Sai Ram. I think in the next paragraph, Swami is sort of explaining this further, I think. So I think maybe we can read on if everyone is okay, unless somebody has some question.
That's an excellent example, Brother Arunu said. I just thought about the God Shiva would give some people all kind of wealth, but he will keep maybe the peace, and maybe sometimes some other things he will hold on his hand to pull them back. That's why for Bharvati's question, God Shiva said, I thought very interesting thought Shiva had, I will give everything, whatever they want, but I will keep two things. So we have to keep that in our mind, the peace and the other maybe ultimate joy, in Tamil we call Amedi and Shantam, we will lose it, all other things we will get it. That's an excellent example. Thank you, Saira.
That is Shreyas. Peace of mind and
Yeah.
happiness is Shreyas.
Sarah, much can be said of Saranagati. Man surrenders his dignity and status to other men for various purposes in life. Wealth, fame, possessions, pomp, power, etc. But rarely does he get the chance to surrender to the Lord for the sake of the Lord. How can he get the urge? So long as he craves for Adhyaya, entire creation based on the five elements, and not the Adhara, the universal, pure existence. He longs for the object, but does not long for the base on which the object rests. How long can a baseless object satisfy? He wants the gift, not the giver, the created, not the creator, things from the hand, but not the hand. He is running after a non-existent thing. Can there be an object without a pre-existent cause? No, if there is one, it can only be the uncaused God. It is, therefore, sheer ignorance to surrender individuality for the sake of the transitory products of action and cost rather than the cause. Surrender rather than the basis, the cause, and the origin of all the Sarvesvara. That is genuine Saranagati, surrender.
So I think all the question about Saranagati, Swami has answered. So I will open it up for this. I don't think there's anything for me to say. Anyone can share their thoughts, please.
So just to clarify, so Sharanagati is the way to secure that grace that Arjuna is asking for, for Shreya?
Saranagati is the grace? What did
No,
you say?
is that the, no, I asked, is Sharanagati the way to secure that grace? Like we talked about, cultivating good virtues or doing good deeds, but I guess more than all that, it's the Sharanagati.
That's my understanding, sister. We want only God, because once you have God, everything will come if necessary, if He decides so.
Our focus is always on the things which we want from the outside world. But we forget the fact that this world is only an adheya, or the superimposition on the adhara. That is a fundamental universal existence, Brahman. So we are not focusing our attention on the source of all these things, but we want only the things which we see in the external world. But we are forgetting the creator who has created this world. Swami, that's there are, and we get all the transitory products for all our actions. But he is the causeless cause. When we surrender ourselves to that basis, that origin, that Sarveshwara, that is genuine Sharanagati, surrender.
Thank you, Auntie. Anyone else would like to say?
Sai Ram, can you clarify this sentence, or please? Therefore, the sheer ignorance to surrender individuality for the sake of transitory product of action. What is that surrender individuality there? Therefore, sheer ignorance to surrender.
See, our individuality is always surrendered to something or someone in this world. We try to please others. If we go to work, we please the boss or our employer, so they pay us. If we deal with somebody, if we want something from that person, whether that person's recognition, that person gives us some gift, whatever, even love, if you want to say, we want to sacrifice something for that sake. So we bring ourselves down, put ourselves down to earn that. But Swami says all that is transitory products, means they don't last.
Okay, good. Thank
They
you.
will, today it will be there, tomorrow it will be gone. Okay, so he says, why are we wasting our individuality, sacrificing it, to go, selling ourselves for such paltry things which don't last. He says, instead of that, you bow down to God for everything, for earning Him. Even when we bow down to God, we should not ask, give us this, give us that. You say, God, I only want you. If you can only think, if I don't have God, I won't be satisfied. That kind of surrender, Swami. Because everything is surrender. When we go to the office place, actually we are surrendering. We say, okay, we will give our 8 hours to you, so that you will give me a salary. We may dress well and go. That's a different matter. But if we dress well only to impress that person also. So ultimately, we don't even realize that we are actually surrendering our individuality for all these things. But Swami says they don't last. They are impermanent, transitory. Instead of that, do that with God. That's worthwhile, and then you get grace.
Thank you.
God is grace.
Yes.
God, it's not something separate. That's what Swami is explaining.
But usually, Tasan, you go ahead, and then I will talk to later.
Tasan, you had to unmute, brother.
Yes, Sai Ram, brother. The people forget in universal pure existence, but we are wasting our time. The reason is the 5 senses. When it is sound only, we can do so many sadhanas. But if we take we are taking care of the body, or the girls, their body, and the guys, they wanted to build up their body. And that some people, they spend a lot of time on the education. The power, and some people like to get the power. But how many years is going to last when the time comes? Everything going to go down, even the position, even the education, everything. But you have to spend some quality time to understand what is the pure existence, what is the truth. When you understand, that is the one going to get the grace. So you have to surrender everything. It could be your body, it can be your life, it can be your 5 pranas, your action, everything. Then you'll get the grace. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram, exactly on that point, I also had my view, and maybe from our childhood, whenever we pray, we will ask, okay, I should pass this exam. Brother Dasan also, he has already explained some of the, I need a good education, I need a good job, and I need a good family, and I need children. And throughout our life cycle, we always they request the God, I need this and that. And in some cases, Swami also, or the God also blesses us with whatever we ask. But very seldom, the God come and says, I wouldn't give it to you. I will give only the grace, my grace to you, not these worldly things. Why? God doesn't say, even whenever we ask step by step, I need this, this and that, go gradually and unity. And even at our last life cycle, we ask, I want to win your grace, unity, rather than telling us in the very last step, I wouldn't give you my grace. Why God wouldn't tell us in the, the early days, I wouldn't give you whatever you ask, better you focus on the the permanent thing, that is winning the grace of God, or that is the ultimate joy, that is the ananda rather than the worldly joy. And why God has failed to indicate the people in the world, you are going in a wrong direction or different path. Why God has failed to do that?
Very good question, sister. So I will open it up for anyone to comment.
My understanding is if you don't ask, you don't get. And when at the end, if we ask God, give us grace, that is grace by itself, that we realize that we need grace. So you don't ask.
No, sister Anandi's question is, why is God failing to tell us what we should ask for? Don't ask for this.
Is it grace? Is Bhagawan? It's Swami's or God's grace, or it's our ignorance that we are not realizing what to ask, or it's our ego, individuality?
No, I think Sister Anand is acknowledging that we don't know what to ask.
Okay.
But she's telling God is a bad salesman. He wants us to buy things which which is worthless. He is not selling us what is worthwhile, and he's not warning us not
that you
to
should not ask
things.
this.
Yes, I think that's Sister Anand's complaint.
But we can remember Swami's words in that, I will give you everything, whatever you ask. But why? Because one day, whatever I ask from you, you will get. That is the reason why he satisfies all our desires. Take everything, enjoy this world, enjoy. But the day when I ask from you that real knowledge, then you can give it to me. That is why he was not a bad salesman. He wanted you to come to his way in a very nice manner. Sairam.
Dasan, please go.
Yeah, Sairam brother. The God cannot differentiate the people. It's like a sunlight will give the sun light to everyone. So God cannot do the favoritism to saying someone you ask grace. Then it comes. Then other person will come and say, oh, how come you told that person you ask grace? The other thing we have to understand that the world we think is not going to give you happiness. Even the God, when you pray, so God can give the gold and money and education for everyone. Are they going to be happy? No. The permanent happiness, how you can get it? That's what Baba is teaching. The world we think is never going to give you happiness. So you ask my grace and my blessing. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother.
We have all come to that stage, brother. It's not, that in young age, were we like that? Just think of our young age when we were asking for, Swami, give me this, Swami, give that. Everything he gave us. Only when the whole thing is satisfied. An empty stomach for them, a philosophy is not suitable for him. So also, he satisfied all our wishes when we were young, so that we have come to this stage now, asking for the real knowledge and real happiness. Paramananda.
Yes, Auntie. Thank you.
Just the sales analogy. My husband is sales, and he said, I never give the good one at the beginning. I let the client keep asking me so that I can keep building on his, the bills, so that until he reached to the point where I see a frustration, then I said, okay, you didn't ask this one and you should have this. Just sharing.
You have shared the secrets of business with us. Shivani.
In the safe environment. So
Sister Shivani, he must be doing that with you also, but I will not go there.
don't tell me that.
Just to answer, sister, I think it's 4:15. I think. See, I have sister on this question was, why is not God telling us? Actually, the reality is God is constantly telling us. See, how does He say? We ask for something, He gives, and then we find that that is not helping. At the end, initially we'll be happy, then we will say this is not working, this is useless. It's giving the opposite result than what I expected. In life, everywhere we want a job, we think we go and work there, then we have problem. Then when we say, why did we ask for this job? Okay, so even friendships, marriage, children, everywhere people will run into this problem because we will see the happiness never lasts. So when the happiness doesn't last, that the disenchantment we get is the message from God. Don't ask for this again. But the problem with us is we will again and go and ask the same thing. They say, people, who goes through multiple divorces, they never learn the lesson the first time. Each time the lesson was given. When God also tells us that we are going to grow old. They says, if I make your hair fall, then you will find somewhere to grow hair. If I make your hair gray, then you will make it. Actually, they are all signs that you are growing old. If your teeth falls, you will put a denture or you will put an implant. If your skin's wrinkled, then you will do some treatment, So the thing is, human beings are continuously given signs. Not only in our own body, in our own life, we can also witness what's happening around us also. That is also God telling us, look at this is what happens. But unfortunately, we ignore. We ignore all the signs. And so God is actually constantly talking to us. Every minute we step outside, He's talking to us. It is just that we are not paying attention. If we pay attention, that's why Swami says the person who really benefited, the good example of Lord Buddha. Swami says, you people have seen so many people ill. You have seen so many people dead. You have seen so many old people. But Lord Buddha only saw once. And that took him on a path where he attained nirvana. So he says, so the message is actually being given to everyone at all times. It is just that we are not learning the lesson, we are not hearing the message from God. So this is what Swami has told. Instead of that, we ignore and then we again make the same mistakes, asking for the same things again and again, and get beaten up. So that's my understanding.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
So next time when we go out and look at it, we should say, what is Swami trying to tell? If we ask that question, then we really listen to the message which he is giving. So we don't have to read the Geetha Vahini. Actually, in practical life, we see all this all the time.
At the same time, we have to be Sudhijana to understand what is going on there.
That is why sadhana. Yes, that's
should be there.
So the morning, Sairam, please go ahead. Sister Dushi.
Sairam, brother, if you have time, could you please tell us how to apply surrender in day-to-day life? Is it equanimity or is it like telling mentally, God, I surrender this work to you in the morning? So what is it? How do you do that?
See, the thing is always, okay, you pointed to me, so I will ask others also may have something to say. See, whenever something happens to us, we ask God, why did this happen to me? Why didn't the thing which I wished didn't happen? This is a question we ask God all the time. And that question is the wrong one usually, because if we think God loves us, God wants us to be better, He has given it for some purpose we may not understand. So I think the whole idea of surrender is to treat everything which happens to us as His grace. Then we will not have that is ultimately that surrender. It may be not easy because unfortunately we are used to having our way, wanting things the way we want, and I think that is a challenge, sister, and I have not overcome that yet, but I try to remind myself what is happening to me is for my good, because God lovingly has made this happen. So we will just accept. I think that's the way to slowly cultivate surrender. And I think it's step by step. It's not a one-day affair. It's a lifelong journey to get to that point. Is my understanding, sister. But I will ask others to chime in and say whatever they wish. Shaira.
So,
Yes,
Sairam,
thank
brother,
you, thank you.
I think this way, brother. Do your duty with love. Do not have body consciousness, and you are doing God's job. So that you are an instrument. And end of the night, you surrender everything. I've done everything. I'm surrendering everything to your feet. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. If you can go to sleep every day and say, Swami, I have done what I have to do. I'm ready to come to you today. If we are in that state of mind, then I think we have reached. Every day when we go to sleep, we can say, Swami, you gave me the day, you kept me alive. I've done what I have to. I've enjoyed whatever I have to. Now I'm ready to come to you today, at this moment.
But isn't that being selfish, not fulfilling your duty and going to God?
See,
That's a good one.
who gave you the duty? Who gave you the duty? See,
We.
this is what happened. So, pardon?
Oh, I said we.
No, so Swami gives the example of a principal of a school. Swami says a principal who is working in a school, suddenly an order comes, tomorrow onwards you report to another school. That duty was given to the principal to look after all the children. He looked after everyone well, made sure that this the school runs well, all the problems are sorted out. But when the order comes, he doesn't say, no, I'm not going to go. He will say, okay, I will go to the next school. Conscious, because it's the Lord who is sending them there, whoever is authority, they will make arrangement for this school to be taken care of. But unfortunately, we think we are the only ones, we are indispensable. And then when the order comes, we are not willing to give it up. Then comes all the problems. So why that comes is because we think we are the doer. Brother Thasan was telling the body consciousness, because we think we are the person in charge. Without us, this world will not go on. Without us, this family with whom we are there will not function. Actually, it will function. It will function. It is just that our own Brahma, our own delusion that it will not function, because the Lord is the one who is keeping everyone alive. Because can we keep our family members breathing, the blood flowing, the heart pumping, the lungs functioning, the digestive system working, the digestive juices flowing, the brain functioning? Nothing is in our hands. 99.9999% is not in our hands at all. Maybe 100% is not in our hands. But we are given a chance to do. But unfortunately, we get attached. We think that belongs to us. So it is we who are doing it. It is we who have to look after. And because of that, all this problem comes. If we think it's God who is looking after, He has given me a job to do, I will do as long as He wants me to do. And when He says, you come away, I have a better person to do the job, then He will say, okay, Lord, you know better. So even if we go today, tonight, if I go, I should have the full confidence that nothing will be wrong because God is looking after. The God who gave me the, see, if I want, can I get up from the seat? Suddenly I can have a stroke, I can fall down, people may have turned to me. So God doesn't, so that is to some extent is surrender. Knowing surrender is once we know that it's the God who is the doer, then we will not be worried. That's what in the start itself Swami has said. Give all your burdens to the, as a good student of Gita, Bhagavad Gita, should have surrendered all the burdens, given it all to the Lord, and should be always the state of mind. Only then we can study the Bhagavad Gita. That's what Swami has started in this chapter, the first paragraph. That's all he's saying.
Brother, in that one sentence, brother, Swami said to give all the burdens to him.
Yes.
Okay, only the burdens.
Yes.
So that part also we have to think about that, right? Only if you think that as a burden only you will give.
Yes.
So do you think our duties, some of the duties we do with the love also burden?
You better show that love to God.
So
you better
that
show
part
that
we have to realize, okay.
That's all. See, that is attachment. We discussed love versus attachment last week.
Yes.
Arjuna was suffering from what we thought is love. That is Swami is saying that is not love. That is Brahma.
Attachment.
Attachment.
So everything is a burden in our life. That's the way we will categorize them. Thank you, Sairam.
Yes, everything
I think finally is acceptance with equanimity. Whatever comes to us, acceptance with equanimity, with equal-mindedness. That's what Swami is saying here, I think. Sairam.
Thank you.
We can. I think everyone can contemplate on it. I think Swami will guide us all. Ultimately, we have to give. Then that is the state of mind we should cultivate. That's what Brother Dasan, said. Every night when we say we have done our job. Tomorrow we are alive or not, it's not in our hands. But we should not say, God, let me be here so I can do the job. As if God says, oh, I don't need you, I will take you away, and still the job will be done. Then we are just grabbing onto our seats, like Dhritarashtra. Okay, we will stop here. And I think for that we can continue to discuss.
Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Sairam.
So today's takeaway point is surrendering. Real surrendering is the best sleeping pills for us every night. If you take that pill, then the whole night we will be sleeping peacefully and energized and get up in the morning. Full surrendering, yeah.
So Sairam, the easiest path of self-realization is the surrender of ego. That is Saranagati. So Sairam.
Okay, we will close the session today, if it's okay, and we'll continue next week. Okay, Sairam. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother.